So I would probably have Coleman Engineering starting to walk.
Yeah,
So I mean, when it gets to that point, that's what I would have.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus he gets a pretty good deal because he's from Powers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That one tire, it's getting pretty wore out. Probably from Infinity and on.
Well, this one is kind of like a freewheeling,
Yeah.
so he's free to let it go, to get away from
It just looks like that one's hung up.
it. It works better than,
Yeah, the
Great.
brakes.
yeah. Hey, Bert,
Hey, how you doing?
living the dream, baby.
Hey, Ray.
Bert.
What's up, bud?
Measured that sign
Hi,
today.
Living the dream.
Tomorrow, if I do, I'll stop in there. I'll get 4 of them. Because then I was thinking, when I went by there today, I'll take the Catholic Church, the Methodist Church, I'll put them on the
Oh, I
side.
can, I
And then
can.
I'll put the other central ones on the other side, and it'll match up. You
All right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know me.
You.
We sit back here.
As long as you don't sit my lap right here.
Forgot what we signed up on there. So continue with
I'm not there.
another way along. We use your.
Albert.
That's hard the other day.
Yeah.
It was.
It's usually the way that it's like, maybe I wasn't marked today.
Sit back
And
and
then
then.
put under pressure.
Okay.
Like this size, put in the box. No,
Jesus.
Right here. I just did it. Oh, yeah.
yes. We did it with the box thing. Wish I had.
Oh, you don't?
You're in.
Oh, yeah, that's not
Do we
bad.
have to pull the one out of the basement?
You're busy.
We could use that.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not, that's why I look like this.
That's where you live, hey?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So they keep a clip on you?
Yeah, not terrible, but it's enough. It's more just like polite reassurance, you know?
Yeah. Damn thing.
So what were you doing today? I was working up at a sawmill.
I said, hi Larry, Larry.
Straight here. Yeah.
We don't care what you look like, as long as you're here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sneaking by you.
That's all that matters. As long as I made it there.
She's on there.
Yeah.
But I just gave you that copy.
After approval of the agenda.
Oh,
Here,
okay.
here.
So this is nothing.
You should go stand over here so other people can get this. Over here?
I'm
saying,
You
yeah,
wait
I
over
wanted
here
to
so you're not.
Not tonight.
Oh, no.
No, this one.
What do you call me?
No. Yeah, right, I agree. There's 2 places.
Okay.
Yeah, big enough.
I don't do that anymore.
I heard.
No, you don't have a license. No. I never had a license.
People in
I was trying to deal lands, yeah, he's all retired now, so, yeah, full-time up there in this town. Teresa's put one in up there. Orange Figure. Oh, yeah, yeah, he brought a couple of buildings up there and put in their big sign. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's nice going to the same place.
They saw at the other meeting there, that guy that was talking about building something, Ellisville, speaking from the attorney about that mass timber. Did you ever hear it? I've been following him, and I've been, seeing what's going on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, Bruce, I haven't heard anything else. I'm gonna grab some of this here.
Hello.
Any more eggs or you? What's that? Any more eggs? You didn't eat all of them already, did you? They were all gone probably the first week. I went on the task
I thought you had 2 dozen from,
We did.
Oh,
I just started the last one today.
I think I have 7 in the box right now.
So it'll be another 2 days. Ain't no hurry. Right. Whenever you say there's a dozen, that would work out for me.
How you doing, Larry?
Not bad, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good to see you last night.
Yeah, lucky you. Next in a row.
Wanted to make sure you didn't miss us.
Jump in this one.
You did a four.
Nope.
Yeah, today we did so much rather. What is that? Tomorrow, we'll three.
After the second time.
Yeah, need that, right?
River's right.
They are.
Yeah, what a joke. Yeah. Bless you. Whatever that is.
Bless you.
You come in 2 and 3 all the time.
Oh, my husband's at 22 every time. When I go outside, I grab a cigarette outside. Because he didn't, our meeting, we were at his baseball game. They're having a double header.
And they,
Oh, no, there's one.
Yeah, coming down to you. No.
So Jessica, did we get our grant? We said it was free. What was that? We got our grant. Everything was free. I wish I had news like that for you today. Look at girl. But I like, the optimism is the time I need. I'll just keep putting my good vibes out. There you go. Done. Oh. You must stay in it. So what do they want to change?
I did pretty low. You got it from the CPE Should be done this afternoon. I got a call.
Okay. Didn't know what was going
No changes.
But I think she can qualify me too.
on. She doesn't have to consider it.
We'll try. And we won't have to get back to you. Oh.
It's on the table.
Wow.
No, mine is.
Is it,
I'm just picking it up on the outside.
it's the only one I wear.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll tell Wendy, she should be the
I have tons of things that we wear. It's Christmas.
Don't tell you that. She was the one that was Christmas.
Yeah.
So we just accept this. Anyway, be ready. We will be called upon again. And whatever, I thought maybe tomorrow.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
I'll see, huh?
Some great big dogs. I won't even look. I'm gonna have to get
What's that?
them tires.
Oh,
They're small. I was thinking maybe great big tires. Should I can bring them over
like
myself?
Jack wants, Lori said he wants to put them on.
I'll put them on for you. What, the check with the card and the beer?
Yeah, he's got all air stuff.
Energizer bunny.
Well, he wants,
So over here, he's got lots of tools.
everything's there.
Well, I'll see, I don't know, my difficulty is, you know, the health is,
I just come get it.
okay, why don't you do that then?
Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a new meeting protocol. Once the meeting starts, there will be no talking during the meeting. Public comments are at the end of the meeting and everyone will have 3 minutes to speak at that time. If anyone speaks during the meeting, you will get one warning. If you speak again, you will be asked to leave the meeting. If you disrupt the meeting at any time, you will be asked to leave the meeting. Before we move to approve the agenda, Linda, do you have something you want to do?
Yep. We would like to ask Wilma Kennedy to come to the front table to sign that she is receiving the FOIA of itemized accounts receivable from the Meyer Township for each month beginning January of 2022, continuing and including October of 2024. We need you to sign on both the FOIA. Let's see, we need you to sign on both the email that you sent to the last board requesting the FOIA, along with stating a signature on the papers that you had your attorney send us this week.
I'd like a copy of this too, please. I'd like a copy of this, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anyone have anything to add to the agenda? I have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mark, do I have a second? Maxine, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Jessica, the floor is yours.
All
Welcome
right.
back.
Thanks for having me. And I know you guys have been handed a stack of paper there by me, so I'll start with the draft of the first couple chapters of the report.
Okay,
It all starts with the introduction, where we do a brief overview of Meyer Township, or well, first of what a recreation plan is, and how it is used, how it will be used, and then overview of the planning process, which we discussed last time, and then we'll have an overview of the township and Meyer Township history. And then, it's a long couple of chapters here, because I want to put as much detail in there for you guys as we can. And then just like some community data snapshots. And the purpose of doing these sections is because when you do eventually write the grant for projects you want to do, they're going to ask for things like narratives and justifications for your project. So as much as we can bake in here is the less work you'll have to do when you write the grant. Because we'll basically be building justifications in as we go. So explaining, you know, what your demographics are and how you'll be serving them, information like that. So we have some broad demographic information for the township. That's going to be in here. That's going to include, we've got age distribution, households with and without children, general population trends, as well as disability demographics. And then an economic profile for the township compared to the larger region. And then moving on to like things like information around Menominee County visitor spending, things like that, so that you guys can tie any of that information to any grants that might come up. If you're wanting to make, justifications for any kind of programs or developments or land acquisitions. Want to cover all of our bases because you'll want this to be good for 5 years. So any projects that come up, you'll be able to use this information in those grant applications. As you guys are reviewing that, if you see anything like questions you have or information you'd like to see represented in here additionally, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to add or edit any of that as you guys think would be best for you guys. Then the other section that you've got drafted here is the natural environment section, which is just an overview of different, like opening with different types of land cover and soil classes, threatened or endangered species in the area. Obviously there's a high amount of wetland ecosystems up here, and the DNR likes to see that you've considered that. And again, when you're writing the grant, wherever you're going to have it, they're going to want to see that you've an understanding of the local ecology. So building that all in now so it's as little of a lift for you as possible when grant time comes. So that's pretty much the gist of those two sections that we have. Basically background stuff to kind of build like a basis of action at the end of things for narrative purposes and for ease of grant writing later down the road. So that's where basically we are now in the process, getting that kind of background information done. Having just ended the survey last week, I have some preliminary findings there. I do have the copies that you guys had here that I'll be adding in to do a final analysis with later. But from these initial ones, you guys had a great survey response. 71 already in, plus the handful you've given me now, and that's a really impressive response rate, which is great. The DNR is going to love that, and I think that's going to make for a really great plan to really make sure we're incorporating what people are wanting to see. And so at this point in the planning process, this is where we want to be, because now we're going to want to start having conversations, because where the plan goes from here, I can't just look up and do research for you guys. This is going to have to be more like an iterative group process where you guys let me know what you guys as a township are wanting to do next to build into like the action plan and objectives.
Okay.
To kind of help with that process, I'll give you guys kind of an overview of the survey responses so far. Of your 71 respondents, I give kind of an overview of the demographics of folks who took it. And on the next page, I compare that to the overall population and how sort of representative it was. And generally speaking, you guys had a really nice comparative grouping there. You didn't have any one group overly represented. And so that's really nice. You guys had, I think, you guys' actual demographics is like 26% of households have children. You had 37% of your respondees with children. And generally, if you look at the breakdown of age distribution here, it's fairly similar, the actual distribution shape here. Though as I noted, senior residents make up 32% of the population, but only 21% of respondents. But that is likely going to change, since most of the time you get younger ages of population overrepresented with the digital form of surveys, and then vice versa. And since I have most of the hard copy here, that'll probably end up looking more like the actual distribution shape.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to highlight from the survey responses is recreational facilities that are most popular for residents. In general, Hermansville Lake is the most popular amongst all the respondents, with more than 70% reporting that they visited monthly or more, versus Rudolph Ganga Roadside Park shows the lowest regular usage, with 44% of respondents visiting either never or rarely. And then the other lowest usage was the Spalding La Branch Snowmobile Trail, which suggests just opportunity for improved promotion or connectivity, which I'll dive into a little bit more in the results here.
Okay.
So the most popular recreational activities, fishing is far and away the most popular activity reported by respondents, with 75% of survey takers saying that they fished. And then more than half of all respondents, so the next most popular activities included attending community events, swimming, hiking, and then canoeing and kayaking. The next largest group, that was between 40 to 50% of respondents, say that they hunted regularly, snowmobiled, did ORV riding, went camping, or did more passive wildlife viewing like bird watching. And then the other activities listed on here were less and less frequently done. But I did want to highlight that even though only 32% of respondents said that they selected playground activities, that is 88% of all people who said they had children in their households. So that's a pretty clear indicator that for families, the playgrounds here in the township are an important amenity for them. All right, and then we asked some open-ended questions in the survey, like what is the most important or most valuable thing about recreation in Meyer Township to them. And the four biggest kind of buckets that came out in the data was obviously the natural resources. Folks were really obviously loved living in a place this beautiful and with the kind of amenities you have here in Meyer Township. So they mentioned that they loved the opportunities for fishing and camping, the Hermansville Lake, and the natural areas available for walking, being out in the woods, etc. And multiple people highlighted the proximity and accessibility so that they didn't have to travel far to get to trails or parks, that there was options around the township pretty well dispersed. Another big one was how quiet and peaceful the area is, the small town feel, not overwhelmed with tourists. People really felt like they were able to enjoy the kind of country setting. And then finally, community events. People really highlighted enjoying the kind of programming that happens at like Hermansville Lake. The 4th of July event specifically came up quite a bit. So community programming is also a really big plus for residents. And then we asked the same question, but the reverse, what do they most want to see changed? A big one that came up, and so I put this one first, was people had a lot to say about the improvements to Hermansville Lake. So goose poop, weeds in the pond, things along those lines came up often. I'm seeing a lot of nodding when I said that, so I'm guessing that that is not news to anybody here. Enhanced recreation facilities came up, people requesting things like more picnic areas and shelters, and then commonly, most often amongst folks with families, that they wanted newer upgraded playground equipment or having a place for kids to play. Another common request was people wanting to see an expanded trail system, more cross-country ski trails, having walking paths so that they don't have to walk as commonly on roads, and that they'd like more connector trails between existing facilities. And then finally, a lot of people requested more programming. Like again, the 4th of July events, people said that they would like to have more community involvement, more recreational programming, or even events at the park or classes to attend, or even a community garden. Just other things that can get people more involved. Kind of following that up, we then had like a selection of different kinds of common improvement types, different types of projects that often go into plans, and had people kind of choose which ones they thought would be a priority or should be. And more than half of all respondents responded that they'd like to see expanded access or improved access to lakes and rivers. And then additional trails and newer upgraded playground equipment were the second and third most highest rated. Okay, so then I kind of came up with 5 key takeaways, which I'll sum up. There's a paragraph under each, but the sort of big picture stuff is that water-based recreation seems to be a really important part of Meyer Township in general. Hermansville Lake is the most commonly cited facility people use, and activities like kayaking, swimming, fishing, all rated really high on activities that respondents said they participated in. Connectivity is a priority on different fronts for everybody, whether that's trail system connection or wanting additional community-based activities. General recreation patterns show distinct needs. So we see that younger families are wanting more playground equipment versus older respondents emphasizing more passive recreation opportunities and increased accessibility. And then another thing that came out is that winter recreation represents a significant opportunity for expanded use, with snowmobile trails ranking lower on the usage than other facilities. And then also, I think it was 37% of respondents specifically selected increased winter recreation options as a priority improvement. And then also, we live in the UP, so we have very long winter seasons. That shows that there's some opportunity to increase opportunities for residents for winter recreation during that time of the year. And then the final takeaway I wanted to highlight, since it's not in here as like its own specific slide, is that public awareness and communication needs improvement. Residents all said that there tended to be two main forms of preferred types of communication that came out. 62% said social media, though that tended to skew younger. And then for the older respondents, they all pretty uniformly would prefer like local newspaper and physical updates as opposed to online resources. But with that said, more than 50% of respondents indicated they'd be willing to volunteer and participate in volunteer and programming activities. So that means that you guys have a probably pretty good untapped resource there of folks who'd like to get involved. So with that with the caveat that there's still some unprocessed responses that I just picked up today in hard copy, and you kind of want to think about some of those takeaways when we start workshopping what kind of goals, objectives, and then action plan items you want to put into the plan. Goals themselves are pretty broad. You know, they can be as broad as develop a parks and recreation system for everyone, and then objectives that fall under that. So they don't have to be anything we nail ourselves to the wall with, but to start helping us think about what projects can fall under them. I just drafted some goals. They're by no means any that I'm saying that you should do, but just based on me not living here and not knowing what's already happening and already planned, if I were just looking at these results in a vacuum, what are the kind of goals that I think would be appropriate based on community input? Revitalizing Hermansville Lake, or at least, dealing with some of the issues folks were citing. And then also different projects that were cited in the survey of people wanting additional pier access, and expanded services there. So that's one goal that I recommended, and then whatever objectives or plans could fall under that. Creating inclusive recreation spaces for all ages and seasons. And then the third goal being increasing and enhancing community engagement through improved communication and programming, which doesn't need to be as big of a lift as other things. Just to say, making a concerted effort to close some of those gaps that people were highlighting from the survey. So that's a very long spiel, and I just talked a lot. So I'm gonna just ask what questions you guys have or any thoughts that you're having, and see how you're feeling kind of after that spiel.
Good to me. Pretty much that's it. We are doing something about the weeds in the lake though.
I saw that on the agenda when I walked in. I was like, all right, this isn't gonna be news to anybody.
Yeah.
It's just tough to find the funding to do it.
Yeah.
As far as the geese, well, if they didn't let us peel them, they would be gone, but
Right.
they
Yeah.
won't.
There's some things that are,
Cause it's a mess down there
yeah.
with the geese.
Yeah, it has been for years and years.
Mm.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the results look after you go through those.
Yeah, and I know, not wanting to slow things down a whole month, what I can do is, once I finish processing these, probably in sometime next week, I can send you kind of a revised version if numbers skew or anything new or substantial comes out, just so you have a more accurate picture if anything changes real significantly. And then, not to put this all on you, so you know, whoever wants to be part of any iteration as we talk back and forth, as we kind of solidify goal ideas. The next time I can come with similar to how I've drafted some goals, which don't need to stay the same. Like I said, we can workshop those and change them. Once we have the goals kind of identified, I can start drafting like objectives, and the next time we meet, we can talk through those and see what we want to change, and basically just start tapering things down and down until we have the sort of crux of the recreation plan, which is what is it we're going to do, and what an action plan like that would look like. So just at the very beginning, really broad part of that process. It can be as much of a, and you guys also just got this, so this can be something that we have like additional conversations about. We can email, we can talk about it more next time.
Okay.
Whatever makes the most sense for you guys to do.
We still have to have a public meeting on this, correct?
Yep, and that comes at the end. So
At the end?
the general form for these plans is sort of early in the process. As you're doing the background information, you do a survey. And the idea with that is you want any plans or things you put together to be guided by the public input and by your understanding of, you know, the general like landscape and demographic information. And then you do, once you have like these kind of context and nuance, you work with the group to put together the plan. And then once that plan is done, so once we have all of those chapters, and I left the chapter names in that draft I gave you guys, just so you could kind of see what chapters are coming next.
Okay.
Just to kind of give you an idea of what there still is to do. Once those chapters are done and we have, as a group, have been like, okay, you know, we're feeling good about this, you put it up for a 30-day public review. And very similar to how we did the survey, we're gonna make that available in hard copy and digitally. The DNR requires it be posted in at least 2 places. That they, you know, their wording is that it must be both accessible and convenient, I think is the other. It's one of those words that are kind of ambiguous and meaningless. I typically recommend you do it in just as many places as possible. So that would mean like you put up flyers or something that's like, this is available, you can go online here, you can pick a copy up at the community center, or you can, you know, email so-and-so and they'll mail you a copy. That's generally the tenor there. And it has to go into the newspaper of note around here, so you'll publish it somewhere there. Typically people put it on their website, you know, flyers around like I just said. And then people get 30 days and they either send you their feedback or they can email it to me directly. We'll include my contact information. And then depending on the kind of feedback we get as a group, we decide, you know, what needs to be incorporated, or if there's feedback that like we can't incorporate. You know, like I just did a rec plan for a community where we got feedback where somebody was like, we wanted a water park. It's like, well, I'm sure you do. Like, we're not going to change the plan to incorporate a water park because we have to be realistic. So, you know, it doesn't mean we'll incorporate all of the feedback, but we will, in the public input, that's one of the chapters, we'll record everything we were told by folks and know what changes we made and what changes we didn't make and why. So I'll write that as like a subsequent section. And then you will hold a public hearing once we're done making changes based on that feedback. And that public hearing will be for anybody to come and give any last feedback. Typically, because we've done already rounds of engaging the community, by then if we've done our jobs right, you won't have anybody complaining at that point about changes they want to make. But in theory, people could still come and want changes. And again, if they're like reasonable and actionable within it, we can make a change again and then hold another public hearing. But essentially, when we finally get to a point where at a public hearing there's no more changes, then the board will pass a resolution to adopt, and then we submit it to the DNR, and Mary Carlock does or does not tell us things she wants to see changed before she can accept it. And then that's that. And then you guys can use it for any grants through the DNR or otherwise.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that was another whole long rant. I'm sorry I'm talking so much at you guys today.
No, that's perfectly fine.
So yeah, questions or any other thoughts on things, or we should just put a pin in it and let you simmer on it and we can have another conversation later too.
Sure. You've done a great job so far.
Yeah, it looks really
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
really good.
Very glad to hear that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, and I will mention, if there's any pictures you want to see changed, let me know. I just pulled images off of your guys' website.
Website? Okay.
Yep, so that's where all of those are basically from the Hermansville website. So
Okay.
if you have other pictures you'd like to use or want me to change them out, just let me know. It's a real easy change. I put them in as placeholders just so you kind of get a sense of aesthetically, wanting to have a lot of graphic images in there, but we can change them.
Well, we'll
whenever you want.
probably take some when we put the projects in, or the potential projects in.
Yeah. One of the next chapters is recreation facilities or inventory. And basically, when I do that section, I'll have to visit each of the township owned and maintained properties, and I'll have to take pictures and do like a ADA accessibility rating, and then, list out the amenities there and any programming. So I'll probably be bugging you guys about things like that, just to make sure I'm getting that information correct. So there will be pictures of each of those there that we'll have to take. So if you have pictures specifically that you'd like to be representative of those, otherwise I can take them on the spot, but,
Oh, okay.
things like that. Like if you have pictures you really like that you want to be part of this plan, by all means, let me know.
Did I have pictures of kids who have caught fish down there?
Oh, cool, yeah.
If you go to the DNR website, you'll see them on there. Cause I had Darren Kramer put them on there for me, but,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think pictures like that are always really cool to include. So yeah, anything you guys have like that you want me to add, I'm more than happy to.
All right,
All right, well, thanks, Jessica.
thank you.
Yeah, but I throw that last bit in there. And I'm done.
All right. All right, bills, minutes, and treasurer's report. And did you make the revision request that we got an email earlier in the week?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the bills, minutes, and treasurer's report? I have a motion to approve those three.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
By Linda, second by Mark, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Maxine, treasurer's report.
All's going good. Getting more stuff for the audit. pulling old stuff from 2020. Peter says everything's looking good.
Okay, good deal. All right, next, Brent, as you can see, Brent's not here. He finally got his set schedule at the mill. So his weeks off are the second week of the month and the fourth week of the month. So we have to talk about moving our meeting date. And he suggested the fourth Thursday.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
Okay.
At 6 o'clock?
Yeah, same time, just one Thursday back. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Lake weed mitigation update is
Yes, next
meeting
one,
next
Wednesday, up at Wendrick's wall plant, up on the hill. So we'll have to decide that night. I'm guessing what we wanna go with, you know, what chemicals or talk more with him that night. I don't know nothing about these chemicals, so he knows, I don't know. So we'll ask him on Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Are you gonna put a sign out there, Carol, or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I give you one for the senior center restroom.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
They were supposed to do it yesterday and today on tunnel vision, but they got called on an emergency for a week. So it's probably not gonna be till next Thursday or Friday. So I mean, what are you gonna do for emergency? Carver's not here yet anyway, so it is ordered.
Do you want to explain what Tunnel Vision found out and what
Oh,
they're gonna do,
yeah.
please?
Yes, there is no 90 in there, there's a T. And where it goes out to the sewer, well, they have PVC and galvanized, and they're not the same size, so there's a lip. And it keeps building up with the toilet paper, and there's not enough water to push it out. So they're gonna go in there and sleeve it. I'm sure Larry knows what that is. They'll sleeve it versus having to tear that off and dig it all up. So that day they filmed it, it was just about ready to be plugged up again. So she's been running the water, I know, because I see it when I come back from my row. So, you know. So as soon as we get it sleeved, and hopefully they figured out the problem will be solved. So Jason's working with them on that progress.
Okay. And we did hear back from the insurance company, that they will cover, $22,489.35. So that should cover all the repairs and the
Yeah.
cleaning. So that's good news. Sewer department. Does he want us,
Not yet, but he needs you to sign that. He's got some more stuff he's waiting on yet from that same
okay,
company. So he said as soon as he gets everything in, then he'll have you
okay.
sign it.
And then the baseball fields.
Well, we gotta order that batting cage, Matt. Which is 14 by 14 by 70, I think it was. They called me down there last night, because them bleachers are bad shape. Somebody's gonna end up going right through them pretty quick. They're pretty ripe. I mean, we can put new boards on again, but they don't last, you know, because we have to leave them outside, we have no place to put them. So, I mean, I looked up some, like, 3-tiered, bleachers, I mean, they're $947. I mean, if we could get a couple sets for the big, the ones on the little field, we just put out boards on there, what, 2 years ago? But that big field, they're bad. So I told him I would bring it to the board, best I could do.
How much more would 5 rows be?
Wow, if I can get it down here. Shit, I can't get it down here.
Well, don't need to know right this second.
Well, you gotta do something with them before somebody ends up falling through them. So either get some different ones or fix them. The boards are getting about probably $30-40 a piece, because them aren't treated that we put on there. So,
Yeah, because we did the Little League field once last
Yeah.
time.
I mean, aluminum ones are gonna last forever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hold off until we did that grant for the softball field, but that's gonna be another year away, so.
Is it a matter of replacing all the boards? Or just the seat boards?
All of them, they're shot. I mean, I could check with Kelly, see what kind of deal he would get us. I'll have to talk
Yeah,
to
good.
Keen and, you know,
Yeah. Because as far as aluminum bleachers go, I mean, I guess I'm not against the idea, but I would like to see the baseball team raise some money to kick in on something like that.
exactly. Well, I'll get a hold of Kelly and see what, I'll call how many we gotta have. I think they're 2x10s and 2x8s.
10 of each.
Yeah. See what he'll charge us.
Because that's how we went about it the last time, right? We got them from him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that fur is a lot better than anything you're gonna get around here anyways.
Yeah, let's go that route.
All right, I'll check with Kelly tomorrow. And then I have from Trista, St. John, they're putting some more, they even that one on the field. So I would see if we would pay half, because they're gonna aerate that Little League field and, because that's coming out of their baseball. Yeah, because they help out a lot, the Little League. High school, not so much.
So it would be half of this, or is this half?
No, it would be half of that.
Well, I'll make a motion to go half on the Little League field,
I'll second that.
dirt, and also to purchase the batting cage netting.
Yeah. I do have one more thing for now. Kelly is donating that shed,
Yeah,
but we gotta have some gravel underneath it.
okay.
And we get a hold of Stroh's, but until these restrictions go off, he can haul it in his pit. But it's how do you say it was? 15 by 12 or 10, I don't know. But he's got like lockers in it for the Little League, minor league, and the high school. He
Okay.
built it like that, so each one will have their own compartment to put their stuff in, so. So as soon as we get the gravel down there, then he will bring it down there. So, I'll see what Stroh's, I usually Stroh's before I'll see him. I don't know how much he can haul, they only need like 5 yards.
I'll see what he can do. We have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any other board comment?
Oh, one more thing. It's not going where the old one is. It's the one on the side of the bathroom. We're gonna take that old one. If it's all right, we'll use it up on the hill for fireworks. Just store our extra tubes and stuff in. We'll just set it off to the side.
Okay.
And Kelly and them will haul it out there. And just hoping the bottom's not too rotten. It's been there for quite a few years. But it'll be out of the way then, more parking you can see, so.
Well, if we're gonna knock, or if you're gonna put the shed next to the bathrooms, we're gonna have to knock out a few of those posts that are,
Well, he can bring
Around
it
there
in
to get
from
that
the
in
end.
there, right?
He can back it in from the end.
oh,
That's on
okay,
the other side, yeah. We were down there the other day, looked at it, so.
all right. Public comment? Bruce?
On that, changing the meeting schedule to the fourth Thursday, is that effective next month?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have it in the paper and stuff.
Okay. One other thing, I brought it up last fall, but now that winter's pretty much over, get rid of that stop sign by the Legion.
Okay.
I'll call Dave tomorrow.
I just wanted to know, when you approve something, could you tell us what the price of that, the boards or the gravel, the is gonna be?
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know what the gravel is gonna be, so I haven't talked to
like a
him,
blank
but,
check there,
yeah.
so.
The infield dirt was $855 for half the
Yeah,
coat.
yeah, like that, yes.
And,
Sorry about that, Bob, and everything. As far as the gravel.
the bullpen net was,
It was like 12 or 1,400 bucks. I mean, we approved that a long time ago, we just never got ordered.
anybody else?
Yep. So thank you very much for the correction. Appreciate that. I guess I just would like to reiterate, this is the second time that I've been misquoted in the meeting minutes, so thank you for promptly addressing that. I just want to state to the board, the MTA meeting minutes guide that I had sent in December does state that the minutes of a public meeting should provide a factual, concise record of the actions taken by the public body, not a verbatim report of the comments made. So, I have 3 questions, and I'd like to state those questions and then hear the answer. So, if choosing to use a verbatim report of comments, can they at least be accurate? Secondly, will the corrections be added to the online meeting minutes? And then thirdly, how are the minutes contrived? Is audio used? Is video used? What's determining what those minutes reflect? What is used as reference?
We're
You use-
recording it.
You use dictation, right? Yeah.
Is the audio reviewed for reference? I mean, excuse me, the streaming, the video of it, is that as well? Linda, I'm asking you, is that, do you review the video?
No, I do not watch the video. I'm here.
Well, you're taping them too, aren't you?
But they're not accurate.
I'm
It's-
listening
But
to
it's
that,
not been
and I'm
accurate.
dictating every word you're saying.
The computer's typing as you talk. I'm watching it.
So how did I get quoted as stating last, the initial meeting minutes, that I stated that the treasurer and clerk are incompetent?
Because you were insinuating that we were. That was what you insinuated, that we were incompetent.
Well, I think the initial one stated,
She didn't insinuate it, she said it.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I did not. Did I say,
Yes, you
did I
did.
say clerk and treasurer? Clerk and treasurer never came out of my mouth. No, I didn't, Chad.
But
So
that's what you were insinuating.
you have in here stated that it's her right to film the meeting on her phone, stated that she feels sorry for Chad to have to work with such an incompetent clerk and treasurer. That was not what was stated. If you would watch the video, you would be able to identify, or I'm sure your audio would state that I said that you are amongst a cast of incompetency. Did not identify. Clerk and treasurer never came out of my mouth. The entire public comment.
But you were insinuating right at us, and we know that.
I was speaking
So
to
you're
the
putting words
entire
in her
board.
mouth then?
Yeah.
Because you're
What about
insinuating it, it's not the
What about the
facts, man.
factual
The
as
facts
the
are
MTA
facts.
guidelines? So I guess, will they be corrected online?
Your 3 minutes are up.
I'm waiting for your response. Will they be corrected
3
online?
minutes is done.
I got 3 minutes. Is it gonna be fixed online? Are we getting to this, Chad, in a fucking township meeting? Really? Really? We waited the whole meeting for last, we just asked a simple, she asked a simple question. I have no questions. My one question was, I don't wanna get into it because I don't wanna upset people.
We gotta have them update them. I just
Yeah.
updated them.
You have them online right now with the correction?
I just brought them.
approved.
I'm asking, will they be? Will they be
As soon as we
corrected?
get them, yes, but you're done speaking. Your 3 minutes is up.
Any, Joe?
She always says that everything's going fine with that, treasury audit, whatever, and you just said 2020? This is 2025.
I know, they didn't do anything the last 4 years.
But then the last board said they didn't do anything for the last 4 years.
So yeah.
This is
it's
just
been that
pass the
long.
buck, roll it over, and we still know nothing.
No, because I'm still digging into old files to get invoices for them to be looking at.
In 2020? So when are we ever gonna be caught up?
Good question.
Yeah, that's
Everything is
the,
done.
But I mean,
the firm that they chose, and they're doing that downstate.
this is just ridiculous. And is there any way the public can really find out what the hell's going on? Do we got any paperwork, or can we look to see really what's going on? Because it seems like you just, every month it's just, oh, 2020, they're looking into it, everything looks good. This is 2025.
They finally matched the last audit that was done. So now they're rolling into the first audit of the last 4 years. And now they are just going through and doing the audit to turn it over to the state. And we requested that it be done by the end of April so the state can have it for the first week of May
For 2020.
for 2020.
And then they start working on 2021? How does that work?
Yeah.
So you're never, ever gonna get caught up. Nothing's ever gonna,
I am sure hoping so, because it's a lot to catch up on. The last 4 years with nothing, yeah.
well, I don't know, just get the same stupid answer every month.
Well, I'll have Peter and Heather from Manor draft a response for the next meeting, and I'll have that for you
It's nothing against you, I'm just saying, it's the same thing month after, we've been asking these questions
Right,
for
yeah.
years.
And it's hard to come in and go back for years when they didn't do anything towards the audits or anything of the paperwork.
But
And
see,
I'm coming in not knowing where the invoices are, where everything was filed. And you're digging for it to get it to send down, because it's not like they're local. They chose a downstate firm.
But see, on the last board, when that state lady was here and she said, you guys got 45 days to get your crap together. So nothing got done in the last board meeting. Seems like now we're, what, 4 months into this? 6 months into this new board? Same old crap.
Yeah, but
But
it's
they're a
not
lot
us
further
doing
in.
it, the
Right,
audit.
it's not.
They chose a firm to do it, so all we can do is wait till they're done.
Who
That's
chose
it,
the firm to do it?
The last board.
the last board.
So, you guys.
Yep. Ain't got much choice when there ain't nobody else around that wants to do it. You gotta take what you get.
So how are we gonna know when this board, 4 years, when that audit is gonna be? 2 more boards down
We're
the
gonna
road?
have to do an audit every year.
Right,
That's what we have to do now because of this.
yeah,
Well, that's the way it should be.
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Larry, do you have anything from the county?
Nope, nope, you guys have any questions for us?
How did the
Yeah.
meeting go about equalization last week? Were you there for that?
No, that was, just, I was the chairperson and the administrator, making a phone call to the state is all it was. Wasn't really a meeting per se,
Okay,
but there's been some heated debates, put it that way.
that's what I hear.
I have a comment on the audit. My understanding when I talked to the auditors, the thing is the auditing company takes, and they're compiling and going through all the data and getting all the stuff, the records, the invoices and such. When they get it all compiled and get it ready, then the state comes in and audits the records. So it's time consuming to, and then Maxine is trying to get all the records, and we've faxed stuff prior to, get all the records that they're requesting, and then when they start auditing and they have a question, then they have to email and say, can you go find such and such? And the records are like not very well recorded in the, like, so you can find them.
Well,
In my
who will
opinion.
let that happen?
Well, the previous person, so.
They, whoever they was that we spoke of earlier, they didn't do
So
it.
Maxine is coming into this audit as she's been taking on, she got thrown into all that, plus collecting taxes, which she's never done. And I think that she's trying her best to keep everything straight when everything's not.
I'm not
But
saying anything
no,
against
I'm
her.
just trying to explain my thought on the process. It's a lot, and I've been through state audits, I've been through different types, and they ask you some really, I mean, they want this stuff, so this audit company is going through everything with a fine tooth comb, and they're asking questions, and it just takes time, they don't do anything quickly. And they probably have other jobs.
If you
that
could
they're
have
working on,
them
too.
have something for next month, just an update.
I will have a letter
Alright.
written by them.
Okay, that's good, thanks, Carol.
Right.
If there's nothing else, can I?
Can I
Jeanette?
talk to you after the meeting?
Yep. If there isn't anything else, can I?
I have a comment, please. I'm looking at the minutes. This is in regards to an issue I have with the minutes. I'm still looking for the accounts receivable to be presented to the residents of the township on a monthly basis. It indicated in the minutes that Maxine gave the FOIA papers to Wilma Kennedy at the meeting, setting them at the table. Wilma Kennedy never came up to get the papers. That is absolutely correct. I did come up to retrieve the papers. The papers were gone. Linda, you told me that you did not have them. I went back and talked to Maxine. But anyway, I have the papers, and I do want to reiterate that I asked for a copy of the attorney's letter that I did sign off on. You indicated that Dale Kennedy commented, wanted to know the difference in using carpet versus concrete floors. My husband owned a construction business for a lot of years, and he definitely knows the difference. And instead, what he asked was, why did you go with carpeting instead of a permanent floor? And Chad's response was purely for preference. So I'd like these changes made in the minutes also. And I also noticed that there was nothing in here about me asking Brent Iott about returning the pump. He had indicated back in January that a pump needed to be returned, and then was voicing his discontent with the bill having been paid. And he gave me the response of, well, he had called in the serial number, and if he got any information, he would let me know. We all know how ridiculous that is. So what I'm asking is that these minutes actually be presented as to what occurred in the meeting, the way they occurred. The sentence up there was a heated discussion about the financial transparency, et cetera, some tension between board members and concerned citizens. That is simply a personal objective opinion, and that should not be part of the minutes. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait, I got something. Malone asked me, he said that you're having trouble getting the deed notarized.
Yeah,
Why don't you just go to the bank and they'll,
because he's only available on Saturday.
He has to be there.
He's gotta be
If
there.
he's not there, you can't have it notarized. Bottom line. Try to set it up down here.
That's the long and short of it.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to, when
Yes,
you get anything
you're notarizing his
notarized,
signature.
everybody,
Yeah.
the whole, all parties have to be there.
Yeah.
And another thing, getting back to the audit, how many times did they call me from Menominee and they said, well, this ain't right, and I said, well, is that all sent in? And Chad, how many times did you tell me it's all sent in? Just let me talk. That's what you said. Now we got Maxine and Linda, and they're new, and they're trying to figure out what we did wrong for 4 years, when 100 times I asked, is this all right? Everything was sent in, and it wasn't. That was, now, and then another thing, Willie and I were gonna help compile all this thing, and I asked you for the papers, and you said you ain't getting the effing papers, and you ain't getting into this office. That's all we wanted was the bills, so we could kind of put it together. Now how Maxine's gotta do 4 years of work plus now, and another thing we should get is an accountant for the one that quit. We need an accountant to do the audit like every year.
You hire somebody to do the audit every year. We don't do the audit.
No, Mark, I understand that.
Right.
But we gotta get one so that we got a bookkeeper, so that at the end of the year, when Maxine turns everything, we don't have to go to the state. Hopefully it's been May 5th, I think, when I talked to downstate, and they said, you got 24 hours, they like 24 hours if they ask the question to get it back. And it's 1 year now, coming up. So
Mark, I'm sorry.
So now, so I mean, you can't expect Maxine to do everything 4 years in a row when we just kick the can. Listen, Mark.
I never asked her to.
I'm talking. We kicked the can down the road for 4 years. So that's the truth.
Mark, I just wanted to respond to your comment about being able to find an accounting firm.
Motion to
I
adjourn.
can
Motion to
confirm,
adjourn.
I
I
second.
can confirm that
All in
I
favor, say aye.
contacted
Aye.
I had contacted 22 accounting firms.
Right, and I knew that, but I mean, you took what was
They
available
don't
at
wanna
the
know,
time.
they don't wanna hear it.
We took what was available,
I
you know,
know,
at the
that
time.
was it.
You know,
I'll send you an email with the revised survey results.
I got it.
And then, I'll probably get back to you with some other, just double checking on some things, like the next couple sections, like, admin structure, things like that, just to make sure I'm getting it right, so. Just a preemptive warning, like that would be. But I thought I'd give you a heads up before you start.
Really? I don't want to get treated like that. I believe you.
Yeah, right.
So they.
That's not me, that's her, I'm sure it is.
That was green one, I'm like, God.
What did you do?
I guess I don't get it.
That's the one I should have used, because I did the other one.
It's a little more labor intensive.
I wanted to.
Even during.
Somebody does it, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I'll stay here with you. I'll stay here.
Let's try to see some vinyl planks for the entrances.
What's that?
Vinyl planks instead of using real wood. Yeah, like the track.
Like that track?
Yeah, whatever.
Use that.
How long are they? 16 feet? Like use white one side over and it's right, yeah.
Because. They sit outside, I don't care. No wonder I even I'll check into that.
Well, you put two.
I've been trying to get to